Hi, I'm Max Glassberg. I'm with Yardi Breeze, and I'm here now with Rob Chang, CEO of RC Real Estate. He's also a real estate coach. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here, Max. Thanks for having me. I love to contribute to the IRO Summit. A lot of like-minded people just looking to get better.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. You've done a lot of speaking with us in person and virtually, and we appreciate it. I want to jump right in. You're the CEO of a full-service real estate company, and you also give back by coaching others in real estate and investment and management. So, how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance through all this?
I think the first factor, great question, is just to know that it's okay to ask for help. Like there's plenty of people, companies, vendors out there that want to help you not only get better and save money and make more money at the same time. They might be able to do it better than you're doing now. I think the biggest concept people have is that they need to give up the fear of about letting go of control. I need to be in control, basically the micromanager mentality that I need to be involved in every single step of this workflow, no matter what it is, whether it's leasing or management or client relations or financial. And that's just not the case. I mean, once any company starts scaling, the leader needs to take a step back as far as being hands-on. Being hands-off and checking in is perfectly acceptable. You know, accepting imperfection at times is perfectly acceptable. I know when I went diamond shopping, like there's a lot of diamonds that are imperfect and they're really expensive still. I mean, why, how come it's not just perfectly flawless diamonds? Because it's really like impossible to get those, right? So I kind of compare that to business. There's plenty of mistakes that are going to be made on a daily basis, but that should not let your business stop growing just because there's imperfection. That is totally normal. From the hiring my first employee to every employee we hire now, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So we put them in the roles that they can succeed with, and then we don't have to micromanage, right? If the new employee A, they're really good at being organized, and new employee B is weak at being organized, but they're really good in the field. They're really good talking to people in person. Then we want to put them obviously in the right roles and maybe they don't need to overlap at all. And first and foremost, I just want to say that our health is the most important body of work that we need to master each and every day. I had some family members get sick recently, like have strokes and get diagnosed with cancer. And it just kind of give you that clarity again that we need a healthy body to be successful in all these goals, whether it's business, personal, finance, whatever it is. And without a healthy body, we can't conquer the day and accomplish our goals efficiently. I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I don't do drugs, and that allows me to maximize the day while having lots of energy and a clear head. And as you know, in real estate, there's surprises every single day. And those surprises can really throw you off, spin you off balance. And that's why I need to be clear and energetic personally. That's just what I personally do. So I want to share a little story. I had just finished an interactive seminar in the National Apartment Association's Philly Expo, and this sweet lady looked like she just stepped off the Wimbledon court. She had a full-on tennis outfit. I'm talking about like hot pink skirt and a bright white, polo tank top. She literally looked like she just rolled off the tennis court. Okay. And we're in the sharing section of the end of the session. And she said, please give me the microphone. So I handed her the microphone. And she said, look, I don't know Rob. Okay. We never met before. He's never coached me, but everything he's saying is true because the concept of letting go has allowed me in my company to get out of the cubicle and get onto the tennis court, which is what makes me happy. It fulfills my passion a few hours a day so that I can be a better person to my employees. I can be a better person to my family, my kids, my husband, right? My friends, because I'm happier. And everybody else kind of uh mirrors that attitude, mirrors that behavior, and so that she gets more productivity in turn. And it's like this positive cycle that's happening all around her. And she said, once you experience the freedom of enjoying what you love while someone else sorts the mail, you're never going to trade that back. You're never going to say, oh, you're going to be serving tennis. And you go, I wish I was sorting the mail. You guys, I gotta go. I quit. Get someone else to play tennis with you. I gotta go sort the mail. It's what I'd rather be doing. No, that would never
Mhm.
happen. But we don't realize that when we're sorting the mail. We don't realize what we're giving up, right? So I personally found freedom and I made it my mission to share that gift with the other real estate pros and their families.
What do you coach others to do as a starting point?
I think with any new engagement, it's important to see as a metric where they're at. Each business has a starting point and a sunset point. And the starting point is to measure what our actual engagement point is and what their goals are, whether that be in business, personal, or both. That we then clearly identify their end goal and due date. Okay, there has to be a due date. Never, then we reverse engineer the specific path to achievement down to the day, hour, and minute. Once we have done this reverse engineering, we can calendar the actions that need to be taken. These are not therapy sessions. These are action plans with follow-up and accountability. Clients must be comfortable being uncomfortable, meaning they have to grow. With discomfort comes growth and transformation. Muscles are built the same way. For example, if a client comes to us and says, my goal is to grow my portfolio of units under management by 50%, let's say, for example, in 2 years, and grow my net worth 20% each year for the next 5 years, then we have real specific goals. The more specific the goals, the more attainable. Granted, the client has to do all the heavy lifting, as this would be a coaching client, not a consulting job. And they have to be the ones setting the goals and setting the timeline and setting the markers. For example, another client came to me and asked, how can they take a vacation once a month with their whole family and not have the business disrupted whatsoever? So we need to figure out, who they need to hire, how much they need to pay them, and how do we retain them when you come back without them feeling, hey, now I'm not needed now that you're back from the Bahamas, right? So, like, what role would they have when you're back, when the sheriff's back in town? And who could we hire from overseas? And who do we need to have as boots on the ground? So that's just a real quick summation of how we get started.
Thank you. Let's get to the subject of rising costs in real estate. Where are people feeling the pain and how are you addressing it in your business?
I think inflation's on everyone's mind these days, whether you're at the grocery store or the gas pump, or you're reading your monthly reports, or looking at your bank account. You're wondering, oh my gosh, like inflation, inflation is here to stay and it's not going anywhere. So what can we do to adjust, right? Inflation can force people to innovate, it force people to be more efficient. And so we can bring that to our businesses at the same time. uh, we can help our team. For example, staffing, okay? Staffing is huge. Are you overstaffed? That's a problem. Are you understaffed? Also a problem. Uh, is your staff so good that you're getting poached from other companies? I mean, there's all sorts of pitfalls, right? So the next person you hire, ask yourself, do you expect them to reduce expenses or increase revenue? What is your goal with that staff member? Are there positions that could be phased out, replaced by artificial intelligence or software processes? Is there anything archaic that you're still doing that you're not letting go of for whatever reason? I mean, has any consultant come in and analyzed your business? Are there any third-party vendors that could take out the inefficient parts of your business so you don't have to worry about them, such as leasing or maintenance? There's companies that'll completely take over that part of your business. And it could be worth a consultation to at least look at how they, at least get an example of how they manage those, uh, streams of your business. Now, for example, my first hire, my very first employee, when I finally let go of control, my first hire, I said, I want a little mini me. I want a little mini me. Oh, I want them to do everything just like me. Be like me, think like me, walk like me, talk like me, sit next to me, shadow me, do everything like me. So when I'm not there, people don't know I'm missing. Then I realized that one employee, that was too much to ask from one employee, especially one that's still in college. So I realized that one employee can probably do about 10% of what I normally do. So I calculated how much free time I need to feel uh, more balanced, and I hired accordingly. So two of my first hires were in college. They received direct training by me for 2 years, and both graduated, and they're very successful commercial real estate pros. Not with my company, okay, sadly, but they're with, big firms, and they're happy what they're doing. One's doing office and one's doing residential, which I don't do. And they just said, I always think about our training time together, and I still talk to them, and they're just like, and we keep in touch, and it just, it warms my heart to see that they're doing well. So even though you end on good terms, people always they leave. It's just a matter of they graduate, they get married, they move on, whatever the case may be, they get a higher pay offer, right? It always happens. So turnover is a part of staffing. And sometimes you need redundancy, right? If you have one person that goes missing, if you can imagine, write it down right now. If this person left blank, we would be screwed tomorrow. If you have a person like that at your company, you're set up incorrectly. You are set up incorrectly. Okay. It's not that you don't care about your employees. You do. You absolutely care about them. But one employee should not be able to sink the ship. That's my point. Okay. Turnover, people get sick, people go on maternity, paternity. That's totally normal. You have to be prepared for these events. Okay. Now, your quarterly performance reviews regarding response time, turnover length, backfill times will tell you how much the employees really care about your company. For example, I remember renting, uh, I had a 4,000 square foot custom home that I built with my own hands because I'm a general contractor too. And I had moved out of there and I started renting out. I went ahead and rented that house to a group of my past employees, and they were still some of my current employees at the same time. And they loved it. They absolutely loved it. They thought it was like the nicest house they ever lived in, which it was. And I said, this will be the nicest house you ever rent. Because nobody ever rents out custom homes. They usually rent out basic apartments, right, with basic fixtures. And that was just a show of appreciation. I just wanted to give them that experience, literally, not sleeping in my bed, but sleeping in the same room I used to. And I also take my employees to like steak dinners or go to happy hours at the new trendy restaurants. So it's important to get that so-called off the clock time together so that you can bond. And that's the same reason there's mixers at, conventions, is so people can just like let their guard down and you get to know them personally and you can connect because it's important. It's important to know they know where you're coming from as a leader, and the leader knows where all the employees are coming from. What are their goals? What are they working on? Um, whether it be like saving up for a vacation in Tahoe or, want to go travel to Canada, go skiing, whatever it is. It's really nice to know what makes your employees tick and what they're passionate about. So you can encourage their goals, if that makes sense. Everyone deserves praise and encouragement. It doesn't cost you anything, okay? It costs you nothing. So as far that's my little point on staffing, okay? And as far as rent collection, I remember having to go into my little cave, which is the office, when I only had like 3 employees at the time, but I was the only one doing the rent processing. And I literally blocked out 2 days right in the beginning of the month, the first day and the second day of the month. I could not travel, meaning I literally could not travel anywhere from the office. I could not go on vacation. And it was pathetic, to be honest with you. I had no freedom. Of course, I wanted to do my job. I had to do my job, keep my clients happy. But personally, on my personal life, I have no freedom when the rent's coming in. I have to be there to get the mailbox open, get the rent checks out, so they're not sitting there, so they don't get stolen or whatever, right? And then I have to process them on my desk. Now, when the rents are late, then I have to go knock on the doors, gotta go post notices, chase them down, gotta wait for them to get home from work. Oh, I'm sorry, your rent's late. I need to go pick up the balance. Oh, you're gonna be home at 7 p.m.? Okay, great. I'll skip dinner so I can go across town and go collect your money order, right? That's the things that we had to do before technology took care of all those steps for us. Now all the rents are collected 99% online by the software. Only paper checks we handle are from the government agencies that refuse to work within our portal. That is the only exception that we make. Even the tenants that pay with cash, they use a barcode. So we don't handle any cash. There's no chance of being robbed. There's no chance of the wrong amount getting attributed to the ledger. So those worries that we used to have, um, the freedom that I have of location is really irreplaceable. It's absolutely irreplaceable because a laptop in my lap, or I have a phablet. So big phone in my hand literally replaces me having to go sit at the office table, tally up paper checks, and then, wonder if a tenant paid or if the mail's coming later. Is the mailman coming at 9 a.m. or are they coming at 4 p.m.? Should I wait outside? Should I make some cookies? Like, how do I get the mail delivered quicker? These are literally the things we thought about because we had like 4 rents that haven't been paid yet. You know, it's kind of ridiculous, but that's what we had to do at the time. Uh, Now, one mistake that happened, which was very frustrating, which kind of pushed us forward to get technology involved, was that I had a stack of checks. It was like $14,000, and I had the deposit slip written out. I personally did this. I gave it to my runner, and he took it to the bank, Chase Bank, and the cashier processed everything. They missed a check. It was like a money order that was the same amount, and it was on the bottom, and there was two of them, and they mistook it as one check and not two. So they rewrote the amount of deposit slip lower, and they handed it back to my employee. He didn't know any better. Okay, he didn't know any better. I'm not blaming him. He didn't know any better. He didn't know he had the authority to question, right? The teller. And he took it back to me, and I processed it like the day later, and I was like, wait a minute, something's missing. Oh my gosh, something's missing. Where's the money? Oh, the bank, and they said, oh, we called you, you didn't pick up, and I didn't know the number. I guess I didn't pick it up. We left you a voicemail, and we audited the cash register drawer when the employee finished their shift, and we need to modify your deposit slip to be the correct amount. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. There has got to be a better way to get through two humans' errors. And so uh, I will never go back to fully digital, not having fully digital rent collection. So I'm very thankful that that's in place. Uh, that's just one factor that makes software irreplaceable, in my opinion. There has not been a single error, by the way, has not been a single error in all the years I've been using it. Some of the doomsday prepper people, like my tenants, they say, I'm not gonna pay you online. That's how they steal my money. That's how they empty my bank account. I go, who? Who? Who's gonna do that? The black hat is gonna steal your money because you're paying your rent? I go, come on. Then fine, you just pay in cash. Go to 7-Eleven, pay in cash. That's fine. I don't want to pay the service fee. I go, okay, then pay it to the bank account. Well, I didn't have to pay a service fee before, is what they say. So, well, did the envelope cost you money? Did the stamp cost you money? Uh, did your pen cost you money? Did anything cost you money? Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Okay. So I think it's a fair trade, right? $2 service fee. What's the big deal? So that's the kind of banter you have to deal with sometimes, but you just kind of gotta laugh at it and keep going. Now, as far as maintenance, I always explain it this way. People love surprises, right? Like you come home, you did your laundry. Oh, there's $20. Oh, yes, I found $20 in my jeans and it's still crispy. I just put it in the dryer and it survived. Yes, let's go get coffee, right? Or it's a surprise, I got a birthday party. Yes. But in property management, what are the surprises we get? The apartment's flooding and it's 12 o'clock midnight and it's Saturday night. That's the normal surprise, right? Like, oh no, great. This is
Not a
why they
good
pay us.
surprise. Yeah.
This is why they pay us. Yeah, not a good surprise. But it's a surprise that the owner does not want to deal with. So that's why they pay us. So there's one horror story that I want to share, and it's a what do you call that? It's a tale, cautionary.
Do we need a disclaimer to put up here at this point?
No disclaimer. No names will be used. No
Viewer
names
discretion
received.
advised. Okay.
No, no, it's safe for work. So we did a plumbing shut off notice, right? 24-hour notice to shut off the water because angle stop is leaking. And if you know anything about plumbing, you have to turn the water off to change the cartridges in the shower. Now, this tenant, which is brand new tenant, just moved in, not his first apartment, but a brand new tenant to the complex, said, you know what? I feel like taking a bath. I'm tired. I've been moving. Time to take a bath. Time to be refreshed. Got in the bathtub, turned all the taps on, right? Two taps, the hot and cold, because it's a three handle. Okay, it's old school three handle. Oh, no water's coming out. Shoot. You know what? I'm gonna bail. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go to the gym or something like that. Did not turn the tap off. Did not open the drain. Left the drain closed. Left the taps open. Left it on tub spout. Okay? He left. He or she left. Now, plumber turned it back on. Turn the pressure back on. Turn the water meter back on. All of a sudden, we hear this gushing noise, like a waterfall noise. And we're like, everything's quiet. We're like, where is that coming from? Why is there water noise? Just running back and forth, running back and forth. And they're stacked. So we're trying to figure out, oh, is it upstairs or downstairs? Like, which apartment is knocking on all the doors? Oh my gosh, like what is happening? Finally find out it's this apartment downstairs. The person's not home. They're not home. Okay. They're not answering the phone. They finally answer the phone. Oh yeah, I'm not home. I don't know if I left the shower on. I don't remember. You guys take care of it. So I said, all right, we're gonna go in. We went in, the water was already flooding. It flooded the bathroom, it flooded the hallway, the bedrooms. Um, the only thing that was good, it was clean water, it wasn't sewage, right? But yeah, $20,000 later, problem's fixed. Guess who had to pay the bill? The tenant who forgot to put their renter's insurance into place before they moved in. So the landlord had tons of work, and remember, you don't make a profit on any of these jobs, right? And the tenant had a lot of headache, a lot of crying, a lot of counseling, basically, on why this was their fault. And friends and family call us day and night, try to give us a break, try to get us to pay for it. Trust me, it was tough. It was tough not feel sympathy for him or her. And that's the kind of surprises that we deal with. So, that's once in a while, but at least we got a story to tell, right? At least, at least we can teach somebody that lesson, turn off the taps. Like, I don't know why that's the first time this has ever happened to me in 27 years. All the water shutoffs we did, this has never happened. But Like, in order to deal with huge debacles like that, we need all the other tickets to come in like an assembly line, you know, just like the package movers at UPS and Amazon. We just need them to come in and get shipped out. We got a regular light that's broken. Great. Ship it out to the vendor. Let them take care of it with the tender. Next. But if every ticket that we came in that was regular, like if they called us on the phone and if they said, "Hey Rob, I need help. My light bulb just burnt out. Can you send somebody?" And I would say, "Okay, where do you live? What's your name? What's your phone number? What's your email?" I'm sorry, can you spell that again? I think I misspelled that. Oh, what? Your email is 30 characters long. Could you spell that one more time? It's all D's and E's and C's and B's. No, it's not gonna work. That's why they have to use our software and they have to submit work orders. Guess what? If they don't, guess what we do? We don't give them service. And what happens to these tenants? What happens to them? They learn. If I don't submit a work order, I won't get service. So I'm going to stop texting my leasing agent, who isn't a maintenance team member, and I'm going to stop calling Rob because I have his number when he used to be my contact, right? Before he become like phased out. And I'm going to go ahead and do what they asked me to do. I'm going to submit a work order because then I get service right away. So all of a sudden, you can handle maintenance without taking a single phone call. And all the vendors love it too, because the vendors hate it when you text them and you give them like a unit number and an address, but no lockbox code and no permission to enter yes or no. And do they have like a dog inside? There's not enough information for them. And there's no picture, right? The work order has everything, everything. So we give them a little bit of tough love. That's my tip there. You got to give the tenants a little tough love because we have a whole like email blast that we sent out that's very polite that explains it to them in their own way of thinking. Okay? Like I'll just read it to you. Dear value tenant, do you want your response going to the right team member? Do you? That's my first thing. Do you want to get service in a timely manner? Of course you do. Therefore, please direct all maintenance requests through the portal as work orders. Tickets come to us with your full address, contact info, which is current, and emails. And that way we know who you are, where you live, and that you're an actual tenant. Because we do get emails before this. We did get emails like, "Hey, my toilet's leaking. Come now." No phone number, no email, nobody that's even registered on the software. And the staff is like, "What do I do with this? What am I supposed to do with this?" So, of course, we want to give them service. Of course, we want to take care of the toilet, but we want them to get the help properly. So they just have to follow some rules. That's all. If you don't have the software credentials, you want to add somebody else on, let us know. Uh, and you still need to get registered. You know, if there's an email or a text, like if they only met the leasing agent in person, they wrongly assume that's their contact for life. And it's not true. Because sometimes they're just floating agents that we have. Or they go on vacation, right? Or they change numbers, or they're no longer a team member, you know? Like we're never gonna get those messages passed on. It's just like they're texting a brick wall. And and they'll say, "Hey, I've been texting, Dave for 2 weeks. How come you guys won't fix my refrigerator?" And we'll say, "Well, Dave's no longer with the team. Why didn't you use the portal?" "Oh, Dave didn't tell us." I go, "Well, I'm sorry he didn't tell you. To be polite, he didn't tell you and didn't tell us, but can't control that." Okay? Like I can't control that. So what are you gonna do? Send us a ticket like we asked you. You know, in the event of emergency, obviously they can call us, but that's far and few between. Now they have a 1-800 number they can call us. So now that's the first touch. They submit a ticket, right? And then we submit it to the vendor. Then we get a completed invoice and everything lines up, which means now we are audit proof, which is what the clients love, absolutely love. Everything can be packaged for the CPA. You have a work order, you have proof of payment, you have a copy of the invoice, and when you go to court, because recently I had to go to court because this tenant said, I owe you $13,000, but you fixed nothing in my apartment. How dare you? How dare you let me live in an inhabitable unit? I'll see you in court. I said, okay, we'll see you in court. So 2 months later, we finally got to appear. It's a long wait. Even more money accrued, like 17,000 by then. And I had all the records. Guess how many work orders they submitted? Zero. Not a one. Not a single work order. Okay. So I had to, it's kind of hard to prove that nothing was there, but I had to do like screenshots. I had screenshots of searches with their name on the software, and I brought that, and the lawyer used it because I had a lawyer for that case, and they used it and they showed it, and it was very helpful. And it's just, it's not 100%, but it's like 99% going to help you as a landlord to have everything in one system that's trackable from first report to finish. Because you don't know when you're going to need these reports. You don't know. You cannot keep them up here. If you keep them up here, you are done. You're cooked. In the software, it's all there. It's all accessible. And you can pull it at a moment's notice. Like when the uh when the end of the year comes, it's a rush for taxes, right? And all the clients have the questions right around February, March when it's corporate tax time. And does our team remember what happened 9 months ago? No, we don't have the memory of elephants. No, we're just humans. We scroll at night, we forget what happened during the day. We have to decompress, right? But where everything is in the software, everything's in there, from the notes to did the work to pictures. And that's why you gotta have everything centralized, stacked and packed and efficient. So, before when I was doing the maintenance, I would literally do the maintenance myself with my hands, like change the toilets and fix the faucets, do the painting. So the tenants would text me. And then the owners back in the day, they would say, "Oh yeah, I noticed the maintenance repairs was like 7,000 this month. What happened?" And I would just give them a rundown. I would just tell them whatever I remembered up here, because I was so busy running to Home Depot, I wasn't even logging everything. I would just like sit down at the end of the week. I would look at all my receipts and go, "Oh yeah, I did this and that in unit 7." I go, "I did that in unit 13, and I did that in unit 20." And then I would just calculate how many hours it took me, right? Like that was silly. That was really silly the way I was doing it. It was just like amateur, very amateur, not scalable. And if you are watching this and you're doing anything by hand, like anything in writing, stop, replace it with something digital. I listen, I didn't prepare for this anecdote, but
Oh,
I still play basketball. I still play basketball. I still think I got it. I don't know, maybe I don't, but I can still sweat and do cardio. And a buddy of mine who has a house in San Francisco, he said, "Hey Rob, I know you do property management. Do you manage in San Francisco?" And I said, "Absolutely not, because I don't like the laws in San Francisco. They're too much of a spider web." I said, "What do you got going on? Maybe I can refer you." He said, "Well, I have a rental house, but the tenant that's living there, I don't have a lease." I go, "What do you mean you don't have a lease? What happened to the lease?" "Oh, we lost it." I go, what about the tenant? They have a lease? No, they lost it. And I said, I said, what? Nobody has a lease? So what? So what are you gonna do, man? I said, what are you gonna do now? He said, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you go get a lease written before it's too late and before they say like the rent was $1 a month or something like that, you know? Not that the tenant's bad or the landlord's bad, but why don't you guys all get on the same page and reconfirm what the terms were 10 years ago when they moved in? At least get an agreement on that. So when the laws keep changing in favor of the tenant, you're not backed into a corner. So the things that we hear are just absolutely ridiculous. And that guy didn't even have paperwork. So if you have paperwork, you're one step ahead of him, but you're still way behind. Okay. Like, get rid of all the paper. Get rid of all the paper. Put everything into software, and your life is going to be better. Okay. It's going to be better, more balanced. You have freedom of time, freedom of location. Okay. And you can scale your business, which is what I try to teach everybody in my seminars, whether it's only an hour or it's 2 hours or 3 hours. We come away, everybody who's willing, okay, and if there's like 300 people there, there's probably 20 to 30 people that are willing to take action right then and there. Like, those are my people. Those are my people. Action takers. I always try to leave people with an action plan. And the question that I always ask people is, what is one thing you can do right now to make your situation better? Whether it's get an hour on the pickleball court, get an hour in the swimming pool, get an hour surfing, get an hour hiking, get an hour doing something you love to do that makes you passionate, fill in the blank. What is it going to do? What's going to take to get you to have that in your life? And whether it's an hour of passionate activity twice a week or 3 times a week, like, who are you going to have to hire to do that? Who are you going to have to hire? What vendor are you going to have to bring in? I had a I had somebody say, share and raise their hand, and they said, I need to hire a VA. I said, when are you gonna do that? They go, I already did. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I said in the email as you're posting the slide. I said, you're amazing. You are absolutely amazing. I was like, these are just that's what it does not have to be complicated. This is not complicated because before, as a property manager, as an IRO, whatever you are you the owner operator? Are you a third party management company? Was there a company before you? Yes. When you retire, will there be another company when you're gone? Yes. So why not make your life better now? Why just like compress your life and just try to like kill yourself with all this stress and all this like being underwater every day, stacks of paper up here? Try to get a little balance. Like, it might do you good. It might do everyone around you good to not see the stressed out version of Rob. Just people like to see the happy-go-lucky, like, giving compliments to everybody version of Rob. Which version do they want to see of you? That's my question. How are you going to get there? So that's my little take.
Rob, thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to hear your stories. I think I heard 4 or 5 new ones in there. I've heard you speak, and there's always just more content coming from you. It's amazing. So, to sign us off, can you just share a little bit, what's your contact information in case anyone's interested in learning more about your business, um, and your coaching?
Sure. Yeah, I always like to direct people to my book on Amazon, 7-Step Blueprint to Passive Wealth. That was a bestseller in commercial real estate when it released. So I recommend reading that book or listening on Audible. You can listen to it while you on the treadmill or whatever you like to do. I recommend reading my book first. If that resonates with you, you can contact me for a strategy session on robchang.com. You can schedule one on the Calendly link with me, a 30-minute session. It's free. I definitely recommend that method, that workflow. Or you can find me on TikTok. Either way.
What's your TikTok handle?
It's property management underscore RC.
Again, thank you so much, Rob, and thank you for everybody for joining us and enjoy the rest of IRO Summit.